Hello and welcome to part 5 of starting a fountain pen collection. Very excited about today's episode. Today I will have an ink battle between Diamine and Visconti. I have received in the post 3 inks from Visconti. It's in the green, red and the blue. So for the green I have the product called Verde. It's a cross between a blue and a green. I thought initially I thought this may be a turquoise, but actually the bottle suggests it's the green. So I'm quite interested to see what shade of green this is. For the red, I have a product called Bordeaux, so I'm quite also interested to see how this holds up against the Diamine Oxblood on this one. And also I have the Visconti Blue. I think there's no special name for this. I think it's just called Blue. For Diamine, I have a shade of green black. It's called. I don't think there's a special name for this. For the red, I have Oxblood. And for the blue, I have the 150-year version or anniversary type version called Blue Velvet. So it'll be interesting to see how the inks hold up in writing, and more importantly the illustrations. Mainly because I want to see or showcase the colors, how they compare against each other. So really looking forward to that today. But I think I will start off by looking at some of the how it looks like on some text. So I will put this ink into a Visconti Rembrandt, so we can see what that looks like. So if I just start to move this out of the way, make some space, and here's some text I prepared earlier. I have the Visconti Rembrandt using the Verde, which is the green. Here it looks like it's a blue. I don't know if you can see that clearly. Here's the Visconti I use. It's using a cartridge converter, Visconti's own brand. I didn't want to use a third-party converter, so I wanted to ensure the correct fitting and there was no leaking. So here it's a medium nib. What you can see is it's actually very light. That's my first impression. I mean, it's almost like a turquoise type color. And what I wanted to show here is some drying times. So I after 1 second I try and smear the writing to see if it's dried or not. And so after 5 seconds you can see it's still not dried, and so forth. So it suggests that the ink is very wet, and the drying times will probably take longer. I used Clairefontaine paper here to test out the ink, and here it's not the neatest handwriting, but I think it's more to showcase some of the color and how that would look. I mean, you can see some darker areas where how you apply pressure onto the pen, but actually you shouldn't be applying any pressure with this because the ink flow is flowing so smooth, and it's very wet. So what I'm noticing is there is quite good ink flow on this. I will cut to a time lapse now. I will do some illustrations, so hopefully I will talk to you in a second. And here you see there's some of the colors from the Visconti ink. So the verde, the green. You can see the difference now between well, the shade of the green. When I put the blue next to it, you can see it is actually green. It was not so apparent before, but now you can really see it. You can also get a slightly darker shade if you apply it more slowly. And here the red is also a lighter shade. What I want to do is show you the difference between the Diamines and the Viscontis. So here with the Diamines you see a very dark green color. It's a lot more intense with its colors, which is nice for this illustration, but actually what you see is the big difference between the colors. The Oxblood, again, it's very dark compared to the Visconti. I like the Visconti shades. It's showing a lighter, more elegant color. The blue, there's not so much difference. I think with the Diamond it's also again a little bit darker, but with the blue there's not so much difference. The red, it's looking a lot lighter, which I much prefer. And also with the green, it's also a very unique color as well. It's almost like I said, borderline a turquoise, but it's very unique and very light as a shading. So at a minute, what you see, the dark green lines. This was done with a Parker 51 and also a Kaweco pen at the same time to show off the lines. Using a mixture of fine, medium and broad nibs in its place. So that was the illustrations, and here's my recommendation of the inks. I mean, from the 6 inks, what I can recommend is actually my favorite would be the Visconti first, and then I would say the Visconti Bordeaux would be second, followed by a third would be the Diamine Green Black. So Visconti Verde being my favorite ink because I really liked the uniqueness of the color. It kind of surprised me how elegant this green was. I mean, it's one of those inks that you will start to grow into. The more you use it, the more you like this ink, because when I first used it, I thought, well, it was a little bit too light. Again, with the Visconti Bordeaux, there's just a touch of beauty and elegance about it, and which kind of surprised me. And it's really working well with the Visconti pens. I mean, it's the ink flow is fantastic. I decided to put the Diamond Green Black ink in there, mainly because I couldn't really choose between the two blues, and they both looked equally similar in my opinion. So the dark green, the green black of Diamond it also would be a nice addition to anybody's ink collection. So so these are the top 3 inks I would recommend from this battle. In the next coming weeks, I will have inks coming from J. Herben and also Pilot inks. So I'm really looking forward to testing some of those inks against the inks that I've tested today with the Visconti. So catch you next time.